Just Add Water, the podcast where we look at the hidden work behind our water services, what keeps them flowing. I'm Pier Antonio Lavena, and here's my co-host and colleague from IWD, Anna Barhofer.
Thank you, Pierre. We're thrilled to actually have a very special guest today in our episode. It is Professor Enkelejda Gjinali from the University in Tirana. She is a leading expert in water and wastewater management for more than 3 decades. She has a lot of experience in the Western Balkans and in Albania to improve water systems and train professionals. More so, she's been leading reform projects and basically always making it easy for everyone to understand complex technical topics. So we're very excited to talk about water and wastewater management today with Professor Gjinali.
Yeah, welcome, Professor Gjinali. As Anna said, we'll focus a bit on wastewater and small communities and what young professionals can do to get involved. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Great. May I call you Enkelejda? Is that okay for this episode?
By all means. Thank you.
Great. Please introduce yourself, tell us more about yourself, and honestly, we really want to hear what got you in the very specific topic of wastewater. Was there a specific moment when you said, oh yeah, wastewater, what an interesting topic?
Yeah, you're right. In fact, it was a bit easy for me because I was grown up in a family of engineers, and that had a strong influence on my career path. So I graduated in 1992 as a hydrotechnic engineer and immediately joined the Polytechnic University of Tirana as a lecturer. So later, which means 2 years later after my graduation and the appointment at the university, I completed my second master degree in environmental engineering at the École Supérieure d'Ingénierie Poitiers in France, where I got a chance to be specialized in water treatment. So from that era, 32 years have passed. So my focus has been really, as you pointed out a bit before, on advancing the water sector in Albania. And when I got the possibility, even for Balkan region countries, throughout academia and research, covering several, let's say, topics such legal reforms, sector reforms, good governance, capacity building, and lastly, European integration. So you were interested about my interest in early stage at wastewater. It's really just to admit that I began quite early. So it's not a secret to say that when my father learned that I would become a university professor, he encouraged me to gain practical experiences beforehand, before I joined the university. So I arranged a volunteer summer internship at the sanitation department at Tirana Utilities. This was a forgotten chapter at the time. So I must admit that experience was eye-opening. It made me realize that, and I think it holds true today as well, without proper addressing sanitation, the whole water management will always remain incomplete.
Good point.
Yeah, that's a strong message. We were curious about your PhD work, which focused a bit on wastewater and in smaller settlements in Albania. Can you tell us a bit about that research and what were the main challenges that emerged?
Thank you very much. When I always talk about PhD, the emotions are here. So my PhD research focused on design low-cost, decentralized wastewater treatment plants. This serves to small communities, especially to rural villages. This was very relevant for Albania, and I think, and I do believe that this is relevant today and even for Balkan regions and countries. So Albania alone has around 3,000 villages, most with fewer than 500 or 1,000 inhabitants, and almost none is connected to wastewater or centralized wastewater treatment plants. And believe it or not, but this reality is dangerous everywhere it is happening, because many of those villages discharge wastewater untreated, sometimes directly into the river or stream nearby their houses, that downstream communities might use this water for other purposes, such as water supply, but not drinking water as secondary use, or irrigation. So as part of my PhD, I was convinced at that time, I was younger, I'll do design, and this ended up to be the first treatment plant of its kind in Albania, located nearby Tirana, serving around 100 inhabitants, or in technical terms, 220 population equivalent. And this you're not going to believe. The capital cost was around 60,000 euros. At the time was to buy a simple flat in Tirana city. Construction began in September 2009, and the plant started the operation in January 2010. If you ask me today to do the same job, I'll hardly say no. It was extremely hard work. The design phase, I must admit, was manageable, but the real change came during the implementation, which I closely supervised. In the end, the wastewater treatment plant achieved effluent quality that exceeded even the most strict European countries that they are aiming, and they are part of European membership. So I must admit, this was not just an idea on paper. It was a real project that proves how small-scale initiatives can succeed, and if scale it up, can make a big difference nationally.
Honestly inspirational how actually your PhD was also very practically and to be applied on the ground and in the field. It's impressive. Thank you for telling us about it.
I wanted to ask a bit. I think generally wastewater management, from our impression, doesn't get as much attention as drinking water treatment. What do you think are the main challenges in that area currently, from the point of view of a utility, of course?
Yeah, from my point of view, the main challenges are three: financial, technical, and institutional. So on the financial side, utilities often doesn't have enough and stable revenue to cover operation and maintenance costs. Smaller municipalities or utilities sometimes struggle to secure even investments, because the bigger utilities and municipalities, they are used like a shadow for them, and they are just eating, the bigger ones, they are eating the most of financial investments, meantime, even the attention. On the technical side, I can speak both sides as professor and as an expert in the water sector. There is a clear skill gap, and I believe this is not a problem in Albania, but in the whole Balkan region, because trained engineers and qualified operators are not always able to find out. And on the institutional side, wastewater, to be honest, does not get the same visibility as drinking water. So it often receives less political attention and even public support, despite the fact that in reality, wastewater treatment, it has a major health and environment positive impacts whenever we treat and discharge.
Could we maybe explore in a bit more detail, because I happen to know that that would be interesting to hear from you as well. These investment needs that are especially required in smaller municipalities, how does that balance with the financial realities? Can you shed a bit more insight into this with more detail?
That's $1 million question. In practice, it is not easy, but there are a few things municipalities, utilities can do. Today, we have young generations. They are absolutely exploding with the technologies. So use innovative technology. So in the case of wastewater, there are some modular treatment plants, then they can scale it up when the growth of population is happening. Use low-cost energy treatment methods, there are many, and use smart monitoring tools to cut operational costs. You must say, this is expensive. No. Because in a short period of time, it will return as a revenue if you will spend a bit more money in the very beginning. So in a second point, I can advise make always prioritization. Prioritize affordable solutions like natural gas solution or decentralized systems. I'm in love with them and often make more sense than larger or centralized wastewater treatment plants that they require a lot of energy, a lot of know-how, and maybe we are not yet ready all over our countries to install them. Another piece of advice, and this comes from my heart because I truly believe on that, work with regulatory authorities to ensure tariffs, they cover basic sustainability without putting too much burden on the shoulders. And the last but not least, invest in capacity building and skills. You must say how? And my answer is really fast, by working closely with universities in order to do joint research, joint work, sometimes to train engineers and operators and to build local expertise whenever it is missed.
Great.
Thank you for that very detailed, interesting answer. I want to pivot to a bit of a different topic. We know that you've been very active with young water professional involvement, also in the water sector and water utilities in Albania. Why is it important to support young water professionals, and what can we do to continue that support?
Oh, thank you. This is a fantastic question because the future of this sector or the other parallel sectors on services depend on them. The water profession requires patience, determination, resilience, and nowadays it's a bit more difficult than in my past years. Interdisciplinary skills are really much required. And young water professionals, they bring energy, creativity, and digital know-how. They can help utility modernize because they are using, like we were just using the computer before, but now they have it in their hands, they're mobile. So use them. Through Shokalp, the Albanian Water Supply and Sewerage Association in Albania, Danube, or other initiatives, I have always tried to mentor and possibly open doors for the next generation, because I am a believer that we need them, not only to do the work today, because they belong to the current time and not to the future, but they need to keep to push the sector forward in a way that my generation could not do it.
I see. And one follow-up question about this topic: do you think that young water professionals can play or are playing a role in the kind of decentralized rural wastewater solutions that you focused on during your thesis?
Absolutely, they are down for that because they are curious, they are resilient, and they are decided to never underestimate the importance of the work on wastewater or the work in water sector in general. So I truly believe on them, and I truly believe on their energy, which is unbelievable important, and on the other side it's really big. What they need absolutely good path to be ready from us a bit senior in the career, and they can lay down and really explode and explore absolutely more than we did in past years.
So overall, summing up, before we come to an end, if you have to pick 3 main takeaways for water and wastewater utilities to improve their services, what would be your 3 lessons learned from your experience?
This is not an easy answer, but from my experience, 3 lessons stands out. Plan realistically, but plan, meaning adapt technologies to local context instead of copy and paste solution they might not work locally. Another piece of advice which in my heart is invest in people. Trained staff are just a jewelry, and they have the same importance as building new infrastructure. And what I say as a last point, and this comes really again from my heart, from the mistakes we have done in the past, please engage the community. We were not doing this in the past. It is crucial that customers understand why wastewater treatment matter and how they can contribute. After that, you'll have them on board and you'll see the improvement of the sector will have really not trace, but good numbers.
That's absolutely very important. And when it comes to the consumers, what is one advice that you would have for them?
If they are listening to me right now, one thing comes to my mind. Remember that what goes down to your drain doesn't disappear. It ends up in rivers, soil, or sea. So a piece of advice, small daily actions matters. Use water wisely. Avoid dumping wipers nowadays. They are blocking wastewater treatment plants, fat, oil, or chemicals on the wastewater, and support wastewater initiative in your community if they exist or if they are going to start as new initiative in your area. And because clean water, and I'll close with this expression, and safe sanitation are not just a technical issue, they are a shared responsibilities.
Great. We couldn't conclude better. Shared responsibilities for consumers. It has been a topic throughout all previous episodes as well. So you might want to tune in to the first and second episode of the Just Air Water campaign. Professor Gjinali, Enkelejda, thank you very much for sharing your insights to the specific topic of wastewater, to also including the rural areas, but then also already thinking about the next generation as well of water professionals. I feel inspired.
Absolutely, yes. Thank you very much, Professor Gjinali. And to our listeners, whether you're a utility worker, water consumer, or a future young water professional, please remember that every step is important and key in achieving a sustainable water future.
Yes, it is that shared responsibility. So thanks for tuning in to Just Add Water. We also have a website where every drop matters. So please visit.
Thank you.
Thank you. And let's talk soon.
Thank you.
Bye.